The NBA is the professional sports league in which the players are the closest outside of the game. Along with this, even on the court, players have become much more buddy-buddy with each other over the previous generations. With that being said, we are covering 7 NBA players who are best friends. For this video, we'll only be covering the friendship if both players are still in the NBA. This means you'll not see LeBron and D-Wade or friendship involving a player that is retired. The first relationship that we'll cover is the long-lasting friendship we've seen between LeBron James and Chris Paul. James, despite being drafted 2 years before Paul, is the same age as Paul, making it much easier to relate to life events and childhood memories, as they both happen around the same time for the two. It's easy to see why James and Paul formed a friendship. Both, early in their careers, were arguably the best players in their position. However, their team saw almost no serious success besides James making the finals with the Cavaliers in 2007, but never, ever meeting their ultimate goal. Paul and James have always been close. However, it became official and clear to all that the friendship had been formed when LeBron, Chris, KarlAnthony, Dwayne Wade, and their families all took a vacation together. The complementary skill sets, along with the two being such good friends, has led to rumors for years that Paul would be traded to whatever team LeBron was playing for, so the two could team up together. Also, during LeBron's most recent decision in free agency, Paul's team, the Houston Rockets, were the odds-on favorites to be James's landing destination. However, he would end up on the team he currently plays for, Los Angeles Lakers. Throughout their careers, James and Paul have played on all-star teams together, with the recent implementation of there being a draft instead of dividing the teams by conferences. Paul's overachieving in this year's All-Star game was one of the biggest reasons why Team LeBron narrowly won by only a single point. The final and possibly best proof to show just how close the two are comes when looking at James's eldest son, LeBron James Jr. After he was born, James named Paul to be his child's godfather, which is one of the highest and most important honors you can give a child. On top of this, Paul has made it to some of Bronny's games and tournaments, and even worked with a young guard, which could possibly be why Bronny is such a skilled playmaker at his age. The next friendship that will be analyzed comes from two young adult stars that will always have their names associated with each other for years to come. This occurred because they were traded for each other in the 2018 NBA draft, and both players have progressed to being all-stars in only their second seasons in the league. The thing that links these two together is the fact that Luka was traded to the Mavericks for Trae Young on draft night of 2018. Both players have had incredible starts to their careers, where Luka has exploded to being an MVP candidate in times, and the Hawks are beginning to put the pieces together around Trae that will likely make them contenders for years to come. While it would be expected that being traded for another player would ignite a flame in you that cause hatred for each other, this is not the case with Trae and Luka. The young stars have only had positive things to say about each other so far in their careers. They began their friendship at the annual Rookie Transition Program. At this event, a friendship budded and the two exchanged contact information. Trae said that Luka is a great player who's proved himself alive, while Luka has not said too much about Trae. In the Rising Stars game at NBA All-Star 2020, they shared a moment in which Luka told Trae to pull from half court for a buzzer beater, and when Young sunk the shot, the two celebrated together. The next friendship comes from newly united Nets teammates Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. These two players came together to play because they both wanted to play for a team with a supporting cast they were comfortable being around. Both Kyrie and Kevin relate to each other as they both desperately want to outright lead their own teams, are some of the best players in the league, and are hated by the media and have been branded as bad teammates. While Kyrie found success on the Cleveland Cavaliers, it came when he was playing the secondary role to LeBron James. However, after the 2017 finals loss in which the Cavs lost to Durant and the Warriors, Irving demanded a trade from the Cavaliers so he could lead his own team. This found him going to the Celtics, in which it seemed as if the team may have meshed and even performed better when Irving was not on the floor. With Kyrie being such a score-first player who does not pass much for being a point guard, he can be a ball stopper and not get teammates involved, which is frustrating for them. Kevin Durant started his career on the Seattle Supersonics, which later became the Oakland City Thunder. And it was argued in the media who was the leader of the Thunder between Durant and the Thunder point guard Russell Westbrook. Durant had enough of fans seemingly valuing Westbrook over Durant and sharing the spotlight with him, so he joined the 76-9 Golden State Warriors team that had knocked Durant and the Thunder out of the playoffs just months earlier. However, even in a new city, Durant still faced the same problems. It was argued who was the true leader of the team, whether it would be Steph Curry or Kevin Durant. After 2 championship-winning seasons, the locker room was volatile in Golden State, and Durant joined up with Irving to co-lead the Brooklyn Nets. It was likely that the friendship spawned far before these events. However, at the 2018 All-Star Weekend, it was said that Kyrie and Kevin were like a middle school couple that weekend. Analyst Brian Windhorst said about Irving and Durant at All-Star Weekend, quote, "Eating together, doing drills together at practice. I'll rebound for you, you rebound for me. I'll post you up, you post me up." They went to Miami together after the weekend. It'll be very interesting to see if the friendship between the two will last after playing together for multiple years, or if it'll blossom even further and possibly even result in the Brooklyn Nets bringing NBA championships home. The next friendship comes from LeBron James, and the only other active player that's not been mentioned from the Banana Boat group, and that player is KarlAnthony. LeBron and Carmelo were both part of the 2003 draft class, which is touted as one, if not only the best class of all time. James was selected first overall, while Carmelo slipped to fourth overall. Both players were neck-and-neck race to win Rookie of the Year. However, at the end of the season, the Rookie of the Year award ended up being taken home by LeBron. At the draft and through their fierce competition on who would be the best small forward from the 2003 class, a bond was formed between Melo and Bron. Throughout their careers, it's been rumored time and again that the two would team up and play together. The first came when it was rumored that the Cleveland Cavaliers would trade the third piece of the Big Three, Kevin Love, for KarlAnthony in a last-ditch effort to keep LeBron with the team. However, once LeBron joined a new team, the Los Angeles Lakers, the rumors began to swirl again that LeBron and Melo would team up. Once again, the careers of the two did not cross paths, and the Portland Trail Blazers would sign Anthony rather than the Lakers. However, LeBron lobbied endlessly on social media and any chance he could to make sure that his good friend would make it back into the league and not be forced into an unwanted retirement. It could be possible that one day we'll see King and Carmelo play together. However, for now, we'll have to settle with it being a heated matchup whenever the two friends pop up on each other's schedules. This friendship was picked up and adored by NBA Twitter. It started with the Detroit Pistons and lasted throughout two other teams. This friendship is Tobias Harris and Boban Marjanovic, or as social media more lovingly branded them, Bobby and Toby. The two began their friendship when they were on the Detroit Pistons. However, both were packaged in a deal that sent Blake Griffin to the Pistons and Boban and Tobias to the Clippers. It was here that the reality show, Bobby and Toby, began. Throughout the show and on social media, fans saw Tobias teach Boban things like dance moves and other activities. Interestingly, for a stretch, when the Clippers had Harris and Marjanovic on the court together, the Clippers outscored their opponents 32 points per 100 possessions. Also, the friendship carried over to the Philadelphia 76ers, where both players were traded to Philly in exchange for Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, and Mike Muscala. Sadly, all good things must come to an end, and Boban left the 76ers to sign a 2-year, $7 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks, where he still plays today. This was a very sad moment for the two players, along with the fans that followed them on their multiple stops around the NBA. However, the two still remain great friends to this day despite the distance between them. The next friendship is a triangle of friends and could possibly be the big three that takes over the 2020s. Of course, we're talking about Devin Booker, DAngelo Russell, and Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl and Devin both played for the University of Kentucky on one of their best college basketball teams ever assembled. The team was so good that Devin, who went on to be the 13th overall pick of the NBA draft, was a sixth man for the team. Russell played for Ohio State Buckeyes, where he wowed scouts with his crafty finishing and pinpoint passing ability. In the draft, Karl went first overall, DAngelo went second overall, and Durant went 13th overall, all three being lottery picks. With all of the time they spent together during the draft process, the three became close immediately. Also, with them being arguably the best three players in the draft, it's another thing that they can relate to about the other of the group. In an interview they did for a magazine in which all three graced the cover together, they agreed that they would all love to play together one day, and it looks like it might be a real possibility in the near future. Before the most recent trade deadline, the Minnesota Timberwolves made a trade to send D'Lo to the Timberwolves and pair him up with one of his best friends in the league, Karl-Anthony Towns. Although the Suns signed Devin Booker to a rather lengthy contract recently, it is possible he could demand a trade to the Timberwolves, and we could see a big three of great players who were all friends prior. The final friendship we'll cover comes from the two big men whose friendship would end up pairing them together on the same team. In 2017, the All-Star Game was held in New Orleans, a team that at the time had one of the most exciting young stars in the league on their team, Anthony Davis. Davis did not have many years left on his contract, so it was crucial that the Pelicans paired him with another star or someone he really liked so he would not leave the franchise in shambles. Lucky for them, Davis would hit it off with arguably the best center in the league at the time, DeMarcus Cousins. At the time, Cousins was trapped trapped in Sacramento and was wasting away his career with a franchise that would use their first-round pick to draft a backup for their best player before the Packers made it cool this year. However, during All-Star Weekend, it was made official that DeMarcus would be staying in New Orleans for the rest of the year and would be joining his friend Anthony Davis to play for the Pelicans. Today, Cousins signed for a team-friendly deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, which was the team that had Anthony Davis as its starting power forward. It's likely that Cousins will sign back and hopefully have a full season with his friend without either of them experiencing an injury. To conclude, the NBA is no longer the league that is built upon long-lasting rivalries that would lead to constant fistfights, for better or worse. It's a league built upon friendships and star players teaming up with their friends to form super teams. As we saw, friendships in the NBA can be formed anywhere, whether it would be making friends through the drafting process, being traded, or all-star games. There are endless ways that NBA players can find fellow friends in the league. Subscribe for more basketball content like this, and join us next time in the next video.